exactly. So I do it. There's two cameras, one next to the other. Okay, so we've just had a procedural hearing at the Undercover Policing Inquiry. It's day 7 today of Tranche 3 Phase 1. It's different to normal. The hearing was around the fact that HN81, the undercover officer known as Dave Hagan, we don't know his real name. His real name was kept secret so that he was able to give evidence. Has been excused to give evidence because of his mental health conditions. This was only brought up very recently. And there were submissions being made that this really shouldn't be the case. He was the officer who infiltrated the Lawrence family campaign, the Real family campaign, Movement for Justice, various other ones. I'm joined by Rob Evans, the Guardian journalist, who kind of broke a lot of these stories in the first place. Rob, what do you make of what we heard?
Well, I mean, this is actually a crucial decision today because it is HN81 and David Hagan is a crucial witness in all of this, because if you spin back a moment, the use of the undercover officers to spy on the campaign by the Stephen Lawrence family and their supporters is absolutely crucial.
Yeah. In
this inquiry, and within that, HN81 is a crucial witness. So. I think this is quite important, pretty important stuff, because he has made a witness statement, very detailed one, hasn't been published yet, but it's 77 pages long. And the position we're in is that the people who, want to challenge or test what he's saying, normally they would be able to, a witness would come in front of the inquiry and would be questioned live. But this won't happen in this case.
Yeah, no, I mean, Mitting gave a ruling very quickly. We heard from numerous lawyers representing the Lawrence family, Dwayne Brooks, and also from the Real family, also from the lawyers representing Peter Francis, the undercover officer and whistleblower. I thought maybe Mitting would go away and sort of consider what they'd said, but he gave a response very quickly that he wouldn't be reassessing the mental health assessment. That he thought that the expert had enough expertise, that she was independent enough. These were the issues that were kind of brought up. But that he did say he would consider written questions being submitted.
That was the one concession, wasn't it, really? That he's saying, it was Neville Lawrence's barrister who said, raise the question, well, what about written questions? So they were draft questions, send it to David Hagan, who with his lawyers would then answer them. And John Mitting said, okay, I'll consider that. So they're going to go away and sort of think about whether or not that can be done. But that, in essence, was the only concession. I was a bit surprised that John Mitting gave a decision immediately. I thought he would. Depends how you put it. It depends whether or not you think that he would go, I'll go away and think about all of this and come back. But he didn't. So it sort of suggests that he'd already made up his decision, or he didn't actually want to step back from a decision he had. I'm chasing the microphone.
Sorry,
He had already made.
No, quite. I mean, it's there was one part of the as well as hearing from the lawyers representing the Lawrence family and the Real family and so forth. We also heard from Oliver Saunders representing the designated lawyers, HN81's own lawyer. He took aim at some of the coverage in the media that have happened about how it was shameful and cowardly of HN81 not to give evidence, saying that HN81 had nothing to be ashamed of.
No.
What did you make of those comments? Well, given that the article I think he refers to is something you wrote.
It may have been. The key thing is that actually it's Doreen Lawrence saying, she has made a point, actually, strongly, that she thinks that, police officers who may or may not have committed wrongdoing should actually come forward and be held accountable. And she's saying, if you don't do that, that's cowardly and is a disgrace. And that's the point she's, through her lawyer, Imran Khan, that she was making very strongly.
Yeah, and correctly. I think not for you to say, but I would say absolutely. I mean, it is, and the idea that HN81 has got nothing to be ashamed of is a fucking appalling thing to fucking say. Of course, he's got a great deal to be ashamed of. Or at least there's big questions about the shame he should have for his role in infiltrating the Lawrence family campaign. I think the court of public opinion has absolutely found him to be appallingly shameful, with a great deal to be ashamed of. And to suggest otherwise is pathetic and stupid of Oliver Saunders. But that's beside the point.
Yes.
But yeah, aside
Yeah.
aside from what we've heard today about the about HN81 giving or not giving evidence, how do you feel the latest tranche of the inquiry is going?
Well, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff coming out. I really do, actually. We're looking at. I can think of several things that are important. In no particular order, but one is, we're beginning to see the evidence in more detail about, the key issue of what was, how the police were using undercover officers to spy on the Stephen Lawrence campaign. That's a crucial issue. We're also beginning to see more evidence, for example, continuing on the evidence that we've seen already about how the police were using undercover officers to spy on, to monitor and collect information on justice campaigns. Which is an absolutely crucial issue. That's the evidence we see so far is that the monitoring of campaigns that were either, seeking to force the police to act properly and investigate, matters properly, or to take, allegations seriously. All these type of justice campaigns, we see actually that there's been monitoring of those campaigns right from the 1970s right through to, I think the latest one was 2006 with the Charles de Menezes campaign. So that's absolutely a crucial issue. These are people who are in conflict with the, who are trying to force the police, campaigning around police issues, and they are facing the police using undercover officers to collect information about their campaign. We're also seeing, for example, on the issue of the very powerful evidence, I thought today actually, I should explain, from Ellie. Really heartbreaking evidence. I think that the Ellie, she was deceived into a relationship by James Thompson, an undercover officer, his real name James Thompson, who, he is facing lots of allegations of lying, basically. The inquiry has said he is, he's told lots of lies. So I thought her evidence was very, very powerful, actually.
Yeah, it was incredibly powerful, quite moving, emotional. Just heartbreaking, really, to hear the way in which it affected her life so deeply.
Yeah, I know. Yes. It's when you sit there and listen to it, it's just awful what he did.
Yeah. No, deplorable. Once again, another deplorable undercover officer who we are due to hear from Wednesday. He's been given 5 days of evidence: Wednesday, Thursday, then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Will you be here for those hearings?
I'm always listening. I don't necessarily come along because if I'm at home, I can listen to everything and I can refer to evidence. I can concentrate with distractions from people like you.
Yeah, fair play. It's
no, I don't mean that. But I'm always following it, basically. So if I'm not here, it doesn't mean I'm not following it. It just means that I can just look at you can follow it online.
Sure, yeah. As we understand it, he will, though it will be broadcast with the usual 10-minute delay in audio form. As we understand it, he won't be appearing. You won't be able to see him
Yes.
unless you actually attend.
Yeah, I wonder. We don't know the reason for this actually. So he will give evidence. You'll be able to hear him. If you're in the room, you can see him, but there'll be no picture of him on the YouTube. And I don't know why that is.
I mean, I think I would put it down to the pattern of secrecy and avoidance that Oliver Saunders claimed earlier on doesn't exist. That this is typical of an undercover officer doing everything he can to avoid scrutiny and avoid criticism in whatever little way that is possible. So I think
it is especially surprising when the photographs of him are clearly out there. So I don't know why. But actually, we haven't been given the reason why he won't appear. I mean, other undercover officers did. I can remember Trevor Morris,
yeah, absolutely.
Bob Lambert,
Andy Coles.
Andy Coles.
Yeah,
So I don't know why.
Even like Roger Pierce, who wasn't broadcast live, but then we got the footage later on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure how he's managed to wrangle that one. I haven't got much faith in the inquiry's reasoning, to be perfectly honest, given in the past that they've given such leeway. I mean, we were only kind of commenting earlier before the hearing started that if it wasn't for the constant sort of pressure that came from people who were affected, we may well have been in a situation where we were just getting the transcript as we did during the beginning of Tranche 1.
Yes, I mean, I think sometimes it's useful to step back and think, well, where is everything? And I just think, I always think the same thing. We are now into the 15th year of this, slow uncovering of an undercover operation that went on for more than 40 years, that, abused women, stole the identities of dead children, that has gone into court, deceived court cases, caused miscarriage of justice cases, has spied on people like the Lawrence family campaign, when they're trying to actually, when you think about it, what are they trying to do? They're trying to expose the killers of their son, the racist killers of their son. And also all the monitoring of the justice campaigns. There's a whole heap of abuses that went on here in secret. I always think that when you have agents of the state who are not properly invigilated, who are not properly monitored, they misbehave. And I think that's what's happened here. But the key thing is that why has this information come out? It's not come out through passivity. It's come out through the active work over many, many years, actually, of the people who are spied on, the women, the campaigners, people like, the undercover research group. This is, these are all people working together to drag this information out against really the wishes of the police in Scotland Yard. I always think that if you're, at the top of Scotland Yard, you're not happy that this inquiry is going on. And we've actually got quite a way to go. So there's more, more secrets to come out. If you're an undercover officer, you may have done things thinking, oh, I'll never be found out. But actually, there's so much, bad behaviour here that it was like a dam, really. Once it started to come out, it all, all sort of flooded out, and now we're beginning to see. We have seen through the inquiry and the other work that people have done, the truth of what happened here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is a great deal more to come out. But that ends the hearing for today. It was just a short day today. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be hearing from Lisa Crossland, who was the family member of Kevin Crossland, whose identity James Thompson stole, as well as we will be hearing from L3, who was an animal rights activist who James Thompson claims was involved in a very elaborate plot to get a firearm from France, which sounds like that's a bullshit, and I think it's going to prove to be bullshit tomorrow when we hear his evidence. Anything else you'd like to add?
Not at the moment. I think it's time for lunch, isn't it?
Yeah, it is absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us on the video. I'll be doing another video again tomorrow. I'll do a Twitter Spaces this evening if you want to tune in for that. Yeah, cheers for now.